It's pretty tough as a West Ham fan at the moment, I've got to say, and I am fully aware that maybe Bury fans or Reading fans would be saying, well, hold on a second, what are you whinging about? We'd swap places with you. I get it, but in the localised confines of being a West Ham fan, it's not a great time. We're on the pitch, we're awful, absolutely awful. Look at us, not a good team to watch play. It's hard to get any real excitement for the way the team are playing. The results are even worse than the way we're playing. We have got we've got a London derby coming up against a terrible Tottenham team, who might just be more terrible than us. And I don't know. It's really pretty bad. But it's hard to go into that with any sort of hope or expectation. Things are clearly not right behind the scenes. There's a scattergun approach to hiring coaches. We don't seem to know from one year to the next whether we want a director of football or not, and we're in constant legal battles with the stadium that we play our football in. So it ain't great. And I think the one glimmer of hope we might have had, which was next season we'll buy some players to, number one, suit the playing style of Graham Potter, the coach that we brought in, and also to reduce the average age of the squad. That our wings have been clipped in that somewhat by yesterday's announcement that we were sailing really close with FFP. I did yesterday. I did a video on it and explained why I think can't necessarily believe all of this stuff, and I do think that a lot of this stuff can be smoke and mirrors, but it does. When you read the figures, it does sort of make sense, and it's only. And I read through them. It's hard. I do think it's complicated. I read through it as much as I could, and it appeared that if all the figures are correct, and the projected figures for next season, then we don't publish our figures until the very end of June. But if they are correct, what's been rumoured, then it looks like we would be £3 million over PSR. Now, I tried to do my research on this and tried to ask people, say, well, hold on, how are we able to bid £45 million for John Duran? But the thing is, it's cyclical. Apparently, we could have bid and borrowed or whatever. We could have manoeuvred the figures back in January. By the time we publish our financial figures, we possibly can't do that in the summer. So we've got to sell before we can buy better, which is not ideal. Not ideal at all. Because there's no guarantee people are going to come in and offer us the money that we want for players. Why would they? I don't know if you've seen all the speculation around Jarrod Bowen. It's absolutely nonsense. He's not going to Tottenham. He won't go to Tottenham anyway. But it is interesting looking at the figures. 50 million, which is ridiculous, laughable figure. £50 million, Jarrod Bowen. He's European proven. He's an international. He's totally Premier League proven, one of the best players in the Premier League. Even when he's not playing well, he still gets goals and assists. £50 million, you're having a laugh. I mean, maybe they were, but maybe also it's probably indicative of how West Ham are viewed at the moment. Maybe that's just... Nobody would be able to buy Jarrod Bowen for £50 million, but the fact that we are perceived that he might be available for that, I don't think is particularly good anyway. We look weak, and it looks... I think we have the look of a club that can be taken advantage of. So I think it was, it's quite depressing, really, all the stuff that's going on around West Ham. So for that reason, I was pleased to have a glimmer of hope in the form of an update from West Ham United employee, ex-West Ham United employee. Shorten that name, X. Well, he has two X. We can just call him X. And he has updated his Patreon today. And just for clarity, I'm not going to read the full thing now. I'm actually reading a condensed version which West Ham Central has put up on his social media page. So if you want to go and read the full version, then you're going to have to go and subscribe to the West Ham Way Patreon and get X's full rundown and update on there. But I don't doubt that Central it's not going to have made anything up that X hasn't said. I think this will paraphrase at least one part of his update. And it was really the part that caught my attention. And it said, West Ham are looking to extend our scouting network, recruiting at the moment, basically. Looking at doing what Potter and Macaulay did at Brighton, spread across South America. Expecting it to be a big and significant summer, big pressure to deliver after a poor season. There's a lot to unpack there. Now, I can, as I say, I'm not picking apart X's words. I'm not even picking apart Central's paraphrasing of it. It's, I think the big thing, the positive thing in that was I expected to be a big and significant summer. Now, how does that marry up with what we were told yesterday? Well, it doesn't. But you know what? I'm going to discount that for now. It's important that the club know that it is a big and it's a significant summer. It is the age profile of the squad is not good. We've looked slow and ponderous for quite some time, by the way. And even when we do get a good player like Luis Guilherme, he tends not to play anyway. But it's really legs in the centre of the park which are going to make the big difference, as we've discussed on numerous occasions. The rest of it, and I am pleased. This needs to happen, and it's all very well the club issuing, sort of warnings that things aren't particularly good, but that doesn't give us much hope, and I'm quite sure it doesn't sell season tickets. But as I said, maybe, just maybe, that's a negotiating stance. And maybe when we go and try and buy a player, and we say, well, we're skint, we can't meet that, but we'll offer you this money, and it's a negotiation, it's a bargain until, I guess at least they can back that up with news that's being put out there. Ultimately, you'll be able to prove or disprove this stuff anyway, because once the accounts come out on the whatever it is, the 30th of June or the 1st of July or whenever it is, it will be clear. It will be anybody that wants to go through it and is financially minded and not numerically challenged like me, you'll be able to go through it and you'll be able to see very clearly, as long as you've got a basic understanding of FFP and PSR rules, whether we are in breach or not. But it's really important we go out and we do sign players. There's no doubt about that. Stay like we are, and we will get relegated next season. I'm very certain of that. Well, I'm not very certain. Sorry, that is a bit too dramatic. It's a risk. It is a risk. I think if things sort of, I don't know. Maybe if you extrapolate the, I'd be interested to know if someone knows a website which you can do this on. If you were to extrapolate the form table since Potter came in, would we still have finished above the bottom three? I suspect we would have done. I suspect we'd still be in the same position. However, if you look at West Ham over, I think, 100-game period or something like that, which encompasses all three managers, not their whole careers, but just 100 games. West Ham are 18th in the Premier League. Not sure how that works out. I'm never entirely sure how these supercomputers work. But yeah, so that's the thing there. So West Ham are absolutely going to need to do something and do it quick. The first line really worried me. West Ham are looking to extend our scouting network. That's not going to help us in the summer. Hiring scouts now. That's no good. Look, we need scouts. We really need to increase that department. So what I don't want to do is turn a positive into a negative. I really don't. I was on here doing a video, it would have been last week, wouldn't it? Saying that Aston Villa have got 29 analysts and we had 4. And there's a comparable thing going on with scouting as well. We're well behind. So it is good news. Good news that West Ham want to extend the scouting network. And I suspect this is a vision of Potter. I do. I suspect this is his vision, and possibly Macaulay as well. Obviously, they are still restricted by the... they're still restricted by the fact that if they don't sort their results out, they ain't going to be here for too much longer. It's as simple as that. Do I think they'll last the season? Yes, but I think if we carry on losing, I don't, and then we do so at the start of next season, they will not make it to Christmas. So you can... I just sounded a bit grinchy, that, didn't it? You can put all the scouts into place that you want. We're going to need players now, and I think this is a little bit of a concern. And somebody has got to strategise for the long term. They absolutely have to. But scouts that are going to be hired now are going to be no help for the summer, because by the time you've got recruitment done and the season will be over, there's no one to go and watch anyway. And I'm already worried that we're not going to sign anyone at the start of the transfer window. How can we? If we have to sell before we can buy, it's never easy to sell players. Not everyone wants to do business at the start of the transfer window. We're really screwed if a load of the players, say we want to sell Kudus and we want to sell a Gerd and whatever. Pick 7 or 8 players of your choice. Even if that is the case, what about if the clubs that want to go and buy those players are people that like to do business sort of towards the end of the transfer window? We know it happens. Crikey, it even happened in the last transfer window, didn't it? It was Fulham, and I think it was something like it was on the 30th. I think it was something like the 30th of January, and if you remember, the window closed at, I think it was on the 2nd of February. But No, they actually came in on transfer deadline day. They came in on transfer deadline day for Vladimir Soufal. And the club said, well, we can't do anything there. We can't get a replacement. So it was definitely a no. It was a big, big no-no. So I think we are in trouble if those clubs that we want to buy our players want to do business late on in the winter. Then when are we going to be able to buy any players? Anyway, before I go any further and go through the rest of this update, can I please point in a direction not of a video sponsor today, but Hammers Chat are having a raffle for a signed Di Canio. I'm reading now. That's why I'm not looking you in the eye. I'm not making eye contact. A signed Di Canio home shirt and a signed Di Canio armband. I'm just looking for the dates now. That's it. It's a raffle. It's £5 a ticket. And look, you've only got to go and take one look at our Patreon. We give a lot of stuff away, and a lot of people win stuff through Hammers Chat. And we really do. We have an awful lot of stuff. Not awful stuff. It's good stuff, but we have quite a lot of giveaways all the time, every single month on our Patreon. At least more than one of our patrons wins something. We've had patrons win stuff multiple times. We like to think we give really good prizes away. But what we're doing on this instance is a raffle, and it's £5 per ticket. The raffle ends on Sunday at 8 p.m. So there's 2 items in the raffle. It's a signed Di Canio home shirt, and it's a signed Di Canio armband. Now, we got a little promo. Now, the promo ends Thursday lunchtime, and that is buy 2 tickets and you get a third for free. All right? So, the link is going to be in the description below. If you want to go and look at the raffle, you want to give yourself a chance to win a Di Canio shirt. Look, even if 2 people enter this raffle, someone's winning a Di Canio shirt, right? Anyway, so go and give yourself a chance. Go and check it out. If it has something that appeals to you, then go and take a look. And I'm sure Gio will be going into more details of this raffle on his video. Let's just go back to this messaging again. Looking to do what Potter and Macauley did at Brighton, spread across South America. Look, that's a really tough one. Because as we've said before, it was Tony Bloom's algorithm that highlighted the players. So I think that's going to be tough to recreate that. And just in case you don't know and you missed last week's video and you just don't know this information anyway, it's very readily available information. Go and Google Tony Bloom's scouting algorithm. You'll find what it is. He used to be a bookie, and so as the bookies could always win, he basically started a company that created some analytical software just to make sure that they were giving the right odds so as they couldn't lose, and it would analyse all football matches and I guess other sports as well. I don't honestly know. And he uses that same software at Brighton, although he's tweaked it slightly now to analyse football matches for the purposes of scouting players. So that's what he uses. That's why Brighton are so good at unearthing these players. So I think that's a little bit of a difficult one, actually, to say that Potter and Macaulay are going to recreate what they did at Brighton. That's gonna be tough because they don't. I can't imagine that Brighton are letting anybody. We should hack them. I've said this before. Hack Brighton. But I don't think you can't do that. I think that, look, I'm not going to accuse anyone of industrial espionage. Let's just get that right. But that doesn't mean they can't scout in South America. That doesn't mean that Macaulay hasn't got an inkling of some of the up and coming players there. Of course, naturally. But I just make the point it's going to be very, very hard for them to recreate that. They may even find that looking closer to home might be the way to do it. I don't know. It's not for me to say. I know significantly less than they do, but it's going to be tough. And what they are going to have to do is unearth some gems, some hidden gems as they call them, a bit of pearl diving. Because clearly we're not going to have the money to go and spend big on anybody known. We're just not be that case if we do manage to get. I think I keep on going back to. I think it was Caicedo cost £5 million from Independiente. That's the sort of thing we're going to need to do. West Ham are bad at this, very bad at this as a club. They're going to find this out. We we get the players when it's one stage too late. Duran would be a prime example. Samu Agahawa Omorodian is another one. We had a chance to get him for less than £20 million. Get one chance. Then we don't get him. We think, oh, no, we're not going to bother. He then goes to Porto, and now we wouldn't stand a chance of getting him. He now has a value of €80 million. He'd go to a very, very good Champions League team. We're really, really bad at this stuff. We did it with Ivan Toney as well. When Ivan Toney was at Peterborough, we could have got him then. Oh no, we're going to watch what he can do. Of course, he goes, and I'm talking, this is pre-betting stuff. He goes to Brentford, and pre-betting, he was carrying a value of sort of £70 million before pre-betting charges. And again, it's just too late. So West Ham are going to have to change the way that we do things. The thing that troubles me is particularly what's happened with Guilherme. The club seem they might be once bitten, twice shy with the whole Guilherme thing, thinking, oh, if Potter or Macaulay says, actually, we do want to go and spend £10 million on this left back from Peru, is David Sullivan going to say, oh, hold on, I'm not too sure about that. I'm not sure the mindset in the club matches what perhaps they want to do. That being said, I don't know if that's what they want to do, but it is what X said in his update. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll try and get X on in maybe next couple of weeks. We'll have a little chat. We'll get him on a video and have a little chat with him and see what he thinks is going on with his contacts and whatnot. And rather than any names, just how positive or negative maybe is he feeling about this stuff, because it's quite hard at the moment. It's hard, so I found a little chink, a little something to get positive about here, and yeah, I'm still worried. Well, as you can no doubt tell, I've articulated my worries in this video, but expected it to be a big and significant summer. It's definitely significant. That happens anyway, whether it's big or not. That's the thing, isn't it? It needs to be. It definitely needs to be a big one, and we're going to have to hit the ground running. And if what we're saying is we're going to have to sell players first, then we have to make sure those players are sold really early in the window.